And a very good day, family. Greet you all, James and Valerie, here from South Africa. Sending hugs and love to all our family worldwide, all of humanity, which we love so much with the love of God, Source, Prime Creator for all of creation, and that includes everyone, the nature, the people, everything that's got breath. We love and we honor all of you. I'm going to share on this audio clip, the 7 principles according to Jesus, which he practiced while he was on earth. Now, that is 7 universal principles that we're going to look into, and truly believe that you all will be blessed, because that has not been mentioned in the Bible as so many refer to in the Bible. And I've said so many times before, how can you place a supreme God that you can't even fathom with your little bit of mind, like a peanut mind, in comparison to the awesomeness, the greatness, and the vastness of our prime creator source, our God? You cannot. So, this is principles that Jesus practiced in his time while he was here on earth, using these 7 universal principles in which we can also apply into our lives. So, from South Africa, our ministry, Kingdom Light Bearers, to all the star seeds, light workers, alchemists, mystics, etc., etc. To put it in a nutshell, all the sons of God, this message is to all of you. Now we see the 7 universal principles, the ancient wisdom which we can still apply today, and it's applicable. It is awesome as I run through all these 7 universal principles according to Jesus, and is still appropriate for today. Now let's start with number 1. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universal is mental. Everything emerges from conscious. The mustard seed parable is how reality actually operates. Physical reality is fundamentally mental in nature. Walking on water like Jesus did was the application of a higher principle. Spiritual principles first, and then physical matter second. Proverbs 23 verse 7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart is the deeper level of consciousness, where the creative power lies. Alignment between conscious intention and subconscious conviction. Consciousness plays a vital role in determining physical reality. Science are catching up to ancient wisdom. Matters emerges from consciousness. Your consciousness, awareness needs to shift, arise, and to elevate. Infinite provision, allowing perfect health to manifest. Healing comes from understanding of spiritual identity. Align your thinking with divine truth. Your external world mirror your internal states. Your quality of thoughts creates your day. Oneness with human and divine consciousness. The masculine principle versus the feminine principle. Manifestation in the physical realm, it's a threat to the established church institutions in the past and up to this present time as well. When facing a challenge, ask what mental pattern is creating this experience. Align your thoughts to the outcome you desire. Change your mind. Change your world. When you experience this principle, you will not be moved through external manipulation. We are creators of experience and not victims of circumstances. Jesus taught the science of consciousness. Every human being possesses the same creating power. They have to be awakened. The universe is consciousness. You are a conscious creator of experience. You can literally calm storms with a word. Never underestimate the power of the mind. And then from there, the power of your words. Let's go to the second principle, universal principle, that we can learn and is still applicable for God's sons today. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. Fundamental interconnectedness. Like heaven and earth, they are one. Jesus revealed the same cosmic principle. Correspondence in action. Dimensions of consciousness already activated within you. Spiritual principles transforms physical circumstances across any distance. Spiritual principles can override physical limitations. Jesus used natural principles, metaphors, stories to teach spiritual truths. That's why we cannot take the Bible as such literally, which religiosity normally do. It's symbolically, spiritually, metaphorically that we can apply into our lives. Now, operating in natural correspondence to teach spiritual truths. In spiritual transformation, your old ego self, 3D, must dissolve for your higher nature, 5D, Christ consciousness, to emerge. When a farmer plants a seed, he trusts the inherent life force within the seed. Trust the divine nature within you, the growth of the seed of the word. Heaven is a present spiritual reality within. Align earthly circumstances with heavenly patterns, principles. How do you approach the aspects of life? Your spiritual state determines your natural outcome, response, and awareness. If there's financial struggle, go within. Feelings of unworthiness, etc. Relationship conflicts. Cause of that, internal divisions. Confusion between your left and your right mind. That, like I said, cause confusion, misunderstandings, etc., etc. Health challenges in your physical can be a spiritual root, like spiritual imbalances, unresolved emotional patterns. So that's why we as 5D awakened sons always go within. And there's a solution for every problem. Praise God. Jesus was fully divine and fully human, and so are you. Divine consciousness in human form. You discover and express who you really are. Awakening to your divine nature is awakening to your true human nature. You diagnose spiritual issues by examining physical patterns in your life. Constant problems indicates spiritual patterns that needs your attention without feeling condemned or guilty or fearful or anxious. Abundance emphasizes your worthiness and safety. Correspondence empowers you. The principle of correspondence empowers you to create change efficiently. Always work on your spiritual level, stature first. From the inside to the outside, you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. Spirit, slow down to visibility. The kingdom within you recognized and expressed here and now through you and me. Let's go to our third principle, universal principle, which Jesus operated in and through, and so can we as the 5 awakened sons of God. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves and vibrates. Talking here about energy. Every atom in your body is vibrating right now. Your breath and thoughts vibrates vibrates at specific frequencies. It's measurable science. Remember Jesus calming the storm? It wasn't just a miracle. He said, "Peace, be still." He was mastering the vibrational frequency of the storm. It was electromagnetic activity. The disciples could not comprehend his authority over the storm. Jesus restored proper vibrational harmony to every soul that was sick. Power and energy flowed out of Jesus when a woman with the issue of blood touched him. Energetic transmission to a healthy frequency. Lazarus, come forth, was a vibrational force to reverse death itself. Jesus mentioned Lazarus' name only, otherwise all the dead in that vicinity might have been risen as well with him. Our speech carries creative energy. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. It's psychic, right? The Beatitudes and Aramaic have a music sound quality. It's brainwave entrainment. The presence of Jesus carries a transformative vibration. Some was drawn to Jesus and others not because of low frequency. 3D, like greed, hate, jealousy, inferiority, ego, etc., etc. 3D versus 5D as a level of consciousness. The 3D and the 5D normally cannot fellowship together, but the 5D to the 5D consciousness can interact very easily. When Jesus cursed the fig tree, it died, represents the Jews bearing no fruit. High emotional frequencies are love, compassion, gratitude, the fruit of the Holy Spirit, which we find in 5D consciousness. Low frequencies are fear, anger, resentment, jealousy, 3D, third dimension. Another word for high frequency is Christ consciousness. What is your personal frequency by thought, words, and feeling? Doubt and the carnal 3D thoughts can interfere with your high frequency and vibration. So there is a clash between the two of them. So we all need to transition. Align your frequencies with higher spiritual realities. Does any environment, music, conversations energize you or drain you? Ask yourself. Master your own frequencies through conscious intentions, through prayer, meditation. We bring harmony wherever we go. Quantum physics confirms it. Everything is connected and your energy creates change. Jesus embodied this perfectly. Now we move to the fourth principle of the Universal Principle, and that's the principle of polarity. Everything is dual, pair of opposites. Jesus said, "The last shall be first, and the first shall be last." Safe and lost. Hot and cold are not different things. They are not opposite. They are different degrees of temperature. On the same spectrum, love and hate are different intensities of caring. The real opposite of love isn't hate, but indifference. You don't exclude anyone because of their status, low profile, mistaken identity. Everyone is special to God. Jesus expressed polarity, fully divine and fully human. This is a paradox to embrace. Opposites don't cancel each other out. They can coexist in perfect harmony. When you see the unity beneath surface appearances, every miracle of Jesus was a demonstration of polarity mastery, turning water into wine. They are both a life force, only a different vibrational frequency. Jesus could shift a matter from one pole to another. Scarcity and abundance aren't separate realities, they are different points on the spectrum of provision. Not enough turn into more than enough. Same with 3D versus 5D consciousness. From crucifixion to resurrection, the cross is a symbol of polarity where opposites meet and transform. Jesus emphasized that you can operate in the natural and spiritual realms simultaneously. Jesus revealed everyone possessed a divine spark within, and that emphasized this, everyone. Jesus expressed a higher perspective when he said, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's." No side taking there. Polarity transcendence was when Jesus declared, "Love your enemies." Equality. The enemy is one whose identity is temporarily obscured, and you recognize the deeper truth than merely the outward appearance. Jesus spent time with sinners, tax collectors, and prostitutes. Polarities like pure and impure, holy and sinful, friend and enemy, good and bad can shift and transform. God is not sin-conscious, like the thief on the cross entering paradise. No sinner's prayer there. Don't overcome evil with evil, but overcome evil by doing good. Things can shift. Fear and courage exist on the same spectrum of response to uncertainty. You can shift it by small, gentle gestures. Faith and doubt aren't enemies. They are dance partners on the spectrum of belief. The disciples had doubt, and Jesus never condemned them because they doubted. Jesus maintained the same centered awareness at all times. You remain calm in chaos. Find opportunity in crisis and see potential in problems. Every problem has a solution. Every ending carries the potential of a new beginning. Every limitation can become a doorway to greater freedom. Jesus demonstrated how consciousness can transform any polarity into an opportunity for growth and service. Now we're going to the fifth universal principle, which is applicable to all of us here in 2025 and beyond. Never change. It was just thrown under the carpet, but it's now time to reveal it. Number 5, principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and falls. Listen to the steady beating of your heart, the rise and fall of civilizations, the breath flowing through your lungs. Jesus' whole ministry was a masterclass in divine timing. Jesus was born at the right time, a rhythm consciousness in action. Jesus not only aligned with historical rhythms, he synchronized with the deepest spiritual cycles governing human experience. Timing was rhythmic mastery. Jesus taught about timing through his agricultural parables, timing working with life's natural rhythms. Spiritual growth follows the same patterns as plant growth. There's a time to plant, time to water, time to harvest. Don't force it, you will destroy the whole process. Jesus said there is a time for every purpose under heaven. Most people fight against life's rhythms, forcing outcomes when timing is not right. They want a quick fix, want to harvest during planting season. Align with natural timing rather than opposing it. Jesus didn't heal everyone he encountered. He moved with an almost musical sense of timing. Miraculous healings must flow with divine rhythm. Jesus moved within the framework of sacred timing when he said, "My hour has not yet come." Rhythm consciousness extended to his teaching style itself. When he said, "Blessed are," in the Beatitudes, repeatedly, it's a rhythmic transmission, structured his teachings like music, a rhythmic power. Look at the rhythmic preparation when Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness. 40, a complete spiritual cycle. Old patterns to dissolve and new ones to crystallize. The Israelites wandered 40 years in the desert. Jesus aligned with the ancient rhythm of transformation. Throughout Jesus' ministry, you can trace a perfect rhythm of expansion and contraction. Public ministry and at times withdrawal into solitude and prayer. Jesus never burned out, for he understood the fundamental rhythm of giving and receiving, output and restoration. Abundance revealed deep understanding of rhythmic principle. Give, and it shall be given unto you. It's rhythmic. Instruction. When you align your giving with natural rhythm rather than forcing it through obligation, manipulation, abundance flow back to you through the same natural principle. Look at the 4 seasons. Look at the phases: death, germination, rebirth. Understanding rhythm transforms how you navigate difficult periods in your own life. When you experience spiritual winter like loss, confusion, stagnation, dark night of the soul, rhythm consciousness reminds you that this is temporary. Your current challenges are part of a larger cycle, moving toward renewal and growth. Learn to go with the flow rather than exhausting yourself. Fighting against circumstances, your natural energy cycles, watch it every day. Take note of the flow of your motivation, creativity, and emotional states. Don't force productivity during your natural low periods, and rest. Use those times for reflection, planning, restoration, and meditation. Perfect alignment with divine timings brings forth miraculous results. Start dancing with life's natural rhythms. You tap into the same creative power that moves planets and grows flowers. You add your own unique note to the eternal song. Now we move to number 6, universal principle applicable for us still today. The principle of cause and effect. We live in a universal sphere governed by precise spiritual principles. Every action creates an inevitable reaction. Everything happens according to principles. Jesus said, "What a man soweth, he shall reap." That's the principle of reality. Nothing happens by chance. This is empowerment through knowledge. Perfect example was the parable of the sower as a cause and an effect. The seed represents divine truth. The soil is your consciousness, your mental and spiritual state. Same cause but different effects. Many could not receive a level of truth, for their minds are closed, hardened by cynicism. Some don't have depths of understanding, no sustainability. Worries and materialism creates their own cause and effect cycles. It strangles spiritual growth. Good soil is prepared consciousness produce fruit like 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. We don't need to be victims of our circumstances, but co-creators of our experiences. It's spiritual agriculture. Faith and love operates as causes that produces healings across time and space. The centurion understood authority that Jesus operated under spiritual principles. Spiritual alignment is the effect of restoration. Thy faith hath made you whole. There is a spiritual cause behind a physical effect. Forgiveness doesn't erase consequences, but can transform the energy patterns that create ongoing negative effects. Divine love and forgiveness could transmute negative patterns. You can break cycles to continue for generations. The universe operates like a perfect mirror, reflecting back the energy we put out. Judge harshly and you'll experience harsh judgment. Sow mercy, reap mercy. Jesus never shamed people in their negative cycles. He helped them to see the connection between their consciousness and their experience. Every act of love, service, and sacrifice created expanding ripples of transformation that continue today. Understanding cause and effect is liberating. You have the power to create different effects of past mistakes by changing your course right now. You're a conscious creator working with universal principles. Every thought, word, and action you take is a seed you are planting. Seeds of the Holy Spirit's fruit could only reap harvest of joy, peace, abundance, and all 9 fruit mentioned in Galatians 5 verse 22. All that the kingdom can offer you. Be aware of your patterns in life. Examine them with compassion and not judgment. Consciously plant new seeds through your mind, words, and actions. This is practical spirituality based on universal principles. Now we move to number 7, the universal principle of gender. Everything has its masculine and feminine principle energies. Nothing to do with biological sex, but creative forces that permeate all existence. The active and receptive, penetrating and nurturing. Look at electricity. For example, you need both positive and negative charges to create the flow that powers everything around you. Creation itself requires both masculine and feminine principles, working in harmony. Masculinity is the active force. It initiates, projects, penetrates, and gives form. Feminine principle is the receptive force. It nurtures and receives, brings forth life. Look how Jesus treated the women in his time in a culture that viewed them as mere property. Jesus elevated them equal with the males. He sought their wisdom and recognized their spiritual insights. Mary Magdalene was one of Jesus' most spiritually advanced disciples, the divine feminine principle in full expression. She was the first messenger, the divine feminine principle being honored as the vessel where spiritual truths are received and transmitted. Jesus balanced the two aspects, energies within his own being. When he cleanses the temple, overturning the tables with righteous authority, the masculine principle in action, direct, forceful, penetrating through corruption with unwavering strength. And the same Jesus weeping at Lazarus' tomb. See Jesus gently blessing children and tenderly washing his disciples' feet in humble service. It's a divine feminine energy expressing itself through compassion, nurturing care, and intuitive understanding of what others truly need. Masculine energy speaks of authority and structure. Spiritual truth resonates through both masculine and feminine consciousness. The divine masculine, the word, logos, the active creative force of God, could only enter physical reality through the divine feminine, represented by Mary. She was the receptive vessel, the sacred womb of consciousness, which the infinite takes finite form, a feminine receptivity to divine will. In Jesus' healing ministry, the masculine was with authority combined with feminine compassion. Look at Martha's active service comparing to Mary's contemplative listening. The masculine in doing and the feminine receiving are both essential in spiritual development. Every human being possesses both energies regardless of our biological sex. True spiritual mastery requires developing and balancing both aspects within ourselves. The masculine is aggressive, goal-setting, forceful manifestation, techniques bypassing of emotional needs. The feminine is endless inner work without practical application. No concrete action. Spiritual wholeness comes through integration, no denomination of one principle over the other. Jesus' tenderness and strength was perfectly balanced. His compassion never weakens his authority. Which energy do you tend to express or suppress? Ask yourself. Listen and trust in divine timing. Develop more masculine initiative, structure when avoiding decisive action, also to avoid staying too long in preparation mode. Be willing to take spiritual risks. The goal is wholeness, where divine consciousness can express itself fully. Now, we're going to give a brief summary of all 7 universal principles. These are the 7 principles as an operating system for consciousness itself. True power flows through surrender and not force. The meek understand rhythm, knowing when to act and when to yield. Outer circumstances corresponds to inner states. All 7 universal principles work in harmony together. Storms and stillness are polarities of the same force. Jesus changed the rhythm from chaos to peace. Jesus didn't fight the storm with masculine force, but receives it with feminine receptivity, then transformed it through conscious direction. Jesus never institutionalized his teachings, for you cannot destroy universal principles. They are woven into the fabric of existence itself. Mystics kept rediscovering the same truth which Jesus conveyed through direct experience. Acknowledge these principles and experience them for your spiritual practice. Prayer becomes now a conscious co-creation. Your mental state creates correspondence between your inner world and outer circumstances. You develop confidence in how consciousness operates. Combine your mentalism principle with vibrational authority. Karma is the same principle of cause and effect. Consciousness affects physical reality at a quantum level, which Jesus demonstrated. Salvation is the restoration of your natural ability to operate as a conscious co-creator with divine intelligence. Jesus points humans back to their divine nature. Greater works than I shall you do, Jesus said. Find the seed of opportunity in every challenge of life. Align with natural rhythms. Focus on your own vibrational state. Help others to discover their own divine nature. Consciousness creates reality. Practice these 7 principles and gain knowledge. Christ consciousness is to embrace the same mastery of universal laws and the depth of spiritual understanding to express divine love that Jesus exemplified. Every morning for 10 minutes, when waking up, start monitoring your thoughts. Are you thinking from fear or love, scarcity or abundance, separation or unity? Thoughts are the seeds of reality. Align with divine truth instead. Replace limitation with possibility. Complaint with gratitude. Judgment with compassion. Cultivate inner peace. Focus on your thoughts, words and emotions and energy output. Use elevating words. Connection rather than separation. Your emotional state affects your vibrational frequency. Practice breathing, meditation, time in nature, conscious gratitude. How can I use any setback as a stepping stone forward to greater wisdom and strength? Rhythm asks you to align with divine timing. Don't force outcomes. Discern your seasons of expansion versus rest, periods of learning versus periods of integration. Take full responsibility for the effects showing up in your life, not from self-blame or pity, but from empowerment. Resist self-doubt in your life. Find the same soul tribe who understands this journey, where these principles are lived and discussed. Measure your progress not by dramatic supernatural experiences, but by subtle shifts in your daily responses. Are you more patient with difficult people? Are you thinking loving thoughts? Develop your Christ consciousness, your mind, Christ mind. Be patient with yourself in this process. Jesus spent 30 years preparing for 3 years of ministry. Spiritual development unfolds in its own timing. So, stay humble. You start to dissolve problems instead of creating them, bringing light into dark situations. Let love and wisdom guide your decisions. Sending all our love to everyone hearing our voices all around the world. James and Valerie, we say together Namaste. Until our next inspirational, encouraging message in audio or in video clip. Bye for now. God bless you all.